Greetings and salutations, Tube Dwellers. This is your host, the Madbag, and I'm bringing you some more Starcraft 2 Heart of the Swarm action. This is a game that I played first person and recorded while I was playing, but I wasn't commentating while playing. I'm commentating after the fact. It's going to be between me on my buddy's account, Andronor, playing random, against Zolwick the Protoss. I'll go ahead and spoil the races. I do end up getting Zerg, so this is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss on Howling Peak. Thank God I got the map name out while it's still being displayed to me, else I would have forgotten that. These Heart of the Swarm maps are still alien to me. Not at all familiar. So a Zerg versus Protoss. I wonder, oh I wonder, how this matchup might change in Heart of the Swarm. I'll tell you, probably the biggest change so far to it is that a lot of Protoss in Heart of the Swarm have been doing a one-gate expand, have been doing a gateway into gas into cyber core, and then putting a nexus out as quickly as possible afterwards, and protecting themselves with a very low unit count and a mothership core. I've been seeing almost exclusively that in my opponents, and in the little bit of streams and YouTube games I've watched, Protosses are defaulting to that quite a lot. A lot of Protoss has taken advantage of the ability to defend with a mothership core to get the tech they normally would if they were doing a one-base play, but still get the expansion out safely too. It looks like we've got a touch of lag here in the beginning. Hopefully that'll level out. And as I said, I don't have a Heart of the Swarm beta key myself yet, but I had a buddy come over for a weekend, and he let me play on his account. So I got a few replays, and then I got a few first-person games. I think actually I can't get to the replay files, so if I have more Heart of the Swarm content in the future before I get a beta key, it'll have to be via first-person game of some of the stuff I recorded. I have a couple other recorded games that are decent that I may commentate and show. We'll just have to see as we get to it. So it looks like I've gone up to 9. I'm getting my Overlord now. I can only imagine that against a Protoss, right now the standard is to get a 14 pull, because the Protoss standard is to forge fast expand. You get the 14 pull before getting a hatchery, because Protoss can use cannons very maliciously. They can block you out of your base. They can cannon your expansion. If you go hatchery first, the way you would against a Terran, or the way you sometimes would against a Zerg, the Protoss can punish it pretty easily and with low cost and with high success rates. Just having some pylons and some cannons in the right place. However, if the metagame shifts, if Protoss starts doing one-gate expands, they start doing one-gate openers, it might be safe to start doing hatchery openings again for Zerg. Oh, and it looks like I'm anticipating this metagame possibility by going for a 14 hatch. Now, the only reason I didn't do a 15 hatch is because his probe was in the base, and I was able to sneak the 14th drone out. If I would have got the 15th, I was worried that it may have allowed his probe to get down there and start blocking my hatchery, whereas normally you'd want to go up to 15 drones, just because getting the hatchery at 14, there was a point in time there for just a second where I had 3 larvae, and I kind of wasted a little bit of larva generation time. If you have 3 larvae, it does not tick down your cooldown to create another larva. Larva creates once every 15 seconds, so if you only have 2 larvae, it'll start cooling down, and 15 seconds later you'll have a larva. However, if you have 3 and you're not using one, it's not using up that cooldown. It's almost like not using your warp gates. Although I would say not using your warp gates is sometimes a bigger problem for Protoss than not using some larva. The whole larva inject thing kind of sets the larva on a tilt. Larva injects end up becoming the majority of your production, as you get 4 larvae every 30 seconds from a larva inject, as opposed to the 2 you would naturally regenerate off the hatchery. Twice the production, essentially. That is assuming that your larva ejects are perfectly on point. Now it looks like I'm going to scout, and sure enough I see no forge, and here we go into the base, and here's exactly what I was talking about. Didn't even have to see it to know he was doing it. There's the gateway and the cyber core, and he has both gas. That is actually curious. 2 gas might indicate something one-base centric. That might indicate that he doesn't even have plans to expand. He might be doing some, I don't know, maybe a 4-gate mothership core. I saw Day 9 do some of that stuff. That's the only place I've seen it. I haven't seen any other games where players are doing that kind of shenaniganry, and it looks like his core's rallying straight over. It's coming straight at me immediately. So I've got my gas up. I haven't started wing speed. This might be kind of tough, because at this point in time I was still playing with some of my buddies' settings, and I don't have the status of all of my structures and units on to display at all times. It only displays if I select things. So you'll notice you can't see hit point bars unless I select them. Might be better cinematically, but it is absolutely not better from a gameplay perspective. When you're playing the game, you actually want all the information you can possibly get. You want every ounce of information, and you want it easily. I know there are some pro players that play with, and I'm getting kind of a weird read. I just put 2 spore crawlers down. I got my my evolution chamber very quickly. I'm getting the second gas very quickly, and getting 2 spore crawlers down indicates that I might expect some Stargate or maybe some Dark Templar play. Now I've also started +1 ranged damage, and I've started it before my Roach Warren even began. So this might give me a good timing. Oh lordy! And there I see he's coming in with just 2 zealots in the mothership core. It looks like the spore crawler made perfect sense in shooting down the mothership core, and it looks like this zealot might be a little bit new to playing Heart of the Swarm Protoss, as he let his mothership core 1A against the spore crawler, and he lost it. Now I was also building an extra queen. It looks like all of that was probably from the mothership core read. Me seeing his mothership core travel straight towards me. That was a pretty good read, and I came out of that with pretty little damage. I fought the zealots off basically just with queens and drones. Just now got zerglings out, but they were even late. They weren't even done and part of the fight. So I killed his first mothership core. Now I've kind of put myself out to do this, and you can even see I'm not used to this kind of a build. My gas is just really collecting up on me, and I need a lot more drones. My drone saturation is terrible. I see now that he has expanded, so he's not doing something totally all in, just doing a lot of aggression right in the beginning, which I like. That's cool. I like to see a Protoss player just seeing what he can get away with, sending out a couple zealots in the mothership core. That's really cool, and you know what? He could have gotten away with the mothership core, and he still probably could have killed that queen with the zealots, and probably could have killed a couple drones too. So I like it. That was a decent little push, and honestly it keeps him safe. Normally building 2 zealots in a row would be kind of dangerous as Protoss, because if I'm going speedlings, I might be able to just you know, wait until you push out and go into your base and kill you. But with the mothership core, it really changes some things up. You can sit there and peck away at the speedlings, and with enough energy can even put a gigantic cannon on the Nexus to allow the Nexus to defend itself. Way better than even photon cannons could. So some interesting little early game meta differences here. I was able to get out a faster hatchery. Whoa, sentries, what are sentries doing there? I was sending zerglings out to hit the watchtowers and kind of scout around, but he's got sentries close to my base on my side of the map. I did just produce some roaches there. The roaches should be coming out soon, and my +1 is already finished. 1 damage on roaches this early is pretty amazing, although I'm still not using that gas the way I should. It looks like I'm going to take a couple zerglings into his natural just to see if I can do anything. And sure enough, I see an undefended natural. I'm going to be able to get a few probes. I see on the minimap, here comes his force. He is doing an aggressive follow-up to his opening. And my, that is a lot of stalkers and sentries. Oh, lordy. It looks like killing the mothership core is not slowed him down much. He is going to use a force field on my ramp. It's very unfortunate for me. I'm going to get my drones in the mix, and I don't have a good saturation, but I know I can lose some drones because I took out quite a few probes with my my zerglings, and just having my expansion down. I know he has his as well, but it keeps me roughly even. Now, I was able to hold off pretty well. The drones really buffered a lot of damage there, and they even did a lot of damage because there weren't a whole lot of zealots. Zealots cleave through drones faster than sentries or stalkers. I mean, of course, faster than sentries. The tickle beam, seriously, can it really do anything to any worker? No, it can't do anything to anything. It can't do anything to a zergling, just terrible damage on the sentry. But sometimes people are a little surprised to hear that zealots have slightly better DPS than stalkers, especially against unarmored units. Units not with the armored tag, because that's the only kind of unit that stalkers get their bonus damage to. And it looks like a bad call on his part. He's decided to do another warp-in cycle at his forward pylon, and it's right as I was bringing in the heat. So not only do I get to kill his pylon, I get to kill what he's warping in here, and that is huge because as a Protoss, he just spent a production cycle out here on the map. He's not going to have one to spend for a minute, even at his base. So I'm going to get aggressive immediately, and it looks like I'm going for the long-term play. I just gave my roaches a command to break through some destructible rocks. That's not going to do any damage immediately, but it's going to make it easier for me to assault his third. So it looks like I'm going to try to get ahead on 2 base and go ahead and take my third and keep him from taking his third. I kind of like that way of snatching advantages. Oh my god, my gas is just stocking. I'm still not using it. I just now started taking the gases on my natural. I'm just now getting an infestation pit. But, wow, I don't like to see it banked up quite that much. I probably didn't need that second gas as early as I took it. I took it really early when I saw his mothership core doing some kind of weird stuff, when I knew I was going to get an evolution chamber to deal with the mothership core, to get spore crawlers to deal with the mothership core. I took that second gas just because, yeah, I had planned on upgrading. And now my upgrades are pretty good. I mean, it's the 12-minute mark and I've got +2 damage on my roaches. But I'm not, ooh, I like to see that. I just got Enduring Locusts, the upgrade for the swarm host that allows their spawned unit to last longer. So it looks like I'm going to try to do some roach swarm host business. I like this, especially since I've got the +2 ranged attack upgrade. That goes for locusts as well as roaches. So I'm going to have a kind of meaty army. Getting infestors at this stage would give you a kind of technical army. You know, if you got the right fungals, you can take out a lot. But going swarm host is just going to give me some ridiculous bulk. It's going to give me the epitome that is Zerg. And right there you saw me fussing with a creep tumor near a ramp. I didn't know in this game, but have since found out you can place creep tumors on ramps as a part of the swarm. Interesting change. I actually like little stuff like that Blizzard thinks about. You know, let's try something different. Sure, Blizzard, that's great. I actually like that idea a lot. You still can't construct buildings on ramps, but creep tumors, why not? It makes it a little bit easier to spread creep, and that might allow you to spread creep up ramps. I don't know. I haven't really tried it yet. As of in Wings of Liberty, to spread creep up a ramp, you have to have sight. You have to take a unit up there, maybe an overlord or something. It'd be pretty cool if you could just take creep tumors and maybe have to spawn it not as far as you would like, maybe spawn it a little bit inefficiently, but spawn it up a ramp. That'd be really cool to be able to do. Catch a scouting probe out, and it looks like I'm going to go check once again for that third. He may or may not know that I've taken those destructible rocks down. If he doesn't, then he may not be protected. He might go wall off that far left entrance. Ooh, he does have his third. I see it on the mini-map. And it looks like my roach was just on a move command, so he's going to move in and move away. If I'm lucky, he didn't see my roach walk in, and so he'll think that his expansion hasn't been scouted. Quite heavily supply blocked here. I did already have a few swarm hosts in the cooker. I can only imagine though, yeah, and there they just spawned, I heard them. So 3 so far. I've only got 3 swarm hosts, not a lot, but I can only imagine that I'm gonna, ooh, and here we go. Oh, how many? 4 more? 4 more? Okay, 5 more, we're up to 8. 8's a decent number. Each swarm host, whenever its cooldown is up, ooh, those were roaches. Actually, no, those were swarm hosts that I accidentally numbered as roaches. So I've got 11 swarm hosts, counting those in production. And each swarm host will spawn 2 locusts every time its cooldown is up. So 22 locusts. Locusts do actually better DPS than roaches, but they don't have as much health. But the health is kind of mute because they're a free unit. They cool down, sure. You know, they're not free just constantly. You don't always have 2 locusts out. But with the Enduring Locust upgrade, the cooldown is basically as long as their lifespan is. So, you know, unless he's able to kill them quick enough, it's almost like you always have 2 out. So a swarm host, you know, a little over twice as expensive as a roach. That 200-100 as compared to like 2 roaches, you know, would be 150-50. So a little bit more expensive than 2 roaches, but they do better damage, and they do it in a way that's, I don't know, regenerative, I guess. Ooh, and look at how out of position he is. I just sent a pack of locusts towards his 3rd base, and his army is so horribly in the wrong spot. He's so far out of position. It looks like he's planning on going to my 4th, but that's totally fine with me. I will soak that 4th. I will let that 4th go down, and that is A-okay, because I'm not even mining off of it. I think I've got 1 drone down there, maybe 2. And I'm going to get his natural, and oh, now he realizes how terrible his positioning is, and he's trying to come back. But I'm going to go over and snipe his 3rd as well, and my roaches, by the looks of it, are going to be able to get out. So now he's indecisive. He knows that he can't just go back and protect his base, because I've done a lot of damage to it. It looks like he's going to try to base race me, and let's see how well I react. I like that I'm just sacrificing my 3rd. I'm pulling all the drones and the queen out as fast as possible. And it looks like, let's see, what's the decision? I'm bringing my swarm hosts out. I was sending my roaches towards his main for a second, but it looks like I've changed my mind. I'm spawning a lot of Zerglings. I'm bringing the roaches and swarm hosts back home. So here I have a big army. He has Stalkers, Sentries, and Immortals. That's a great force to fight roaches. And if he has Observers, he could potentially do really well against the swarm hosts also. But let's see, here it comes. Ooh, and I'm getting in. He doesn't have the force fields up yet. I'm getting really close in on him. Move command's getting the hugs just popping off against his army. And here we have it. Oh, yeah. And he has lost the whole thing. He did kill my 3rd. He didn't end up killing my 4th, and I was able to transfer to get, you know, pretty much full saturation on the 4th. But he did make me desaturate my naturals, so it's kind of like I'm on 2 base. I'm on a little bit more than 2 base. He did some damage to me, but he didn't do anything near wiping out 2 full bases the way I did to him. And wiping out 2 full bases would have been less of a hit to me than it would have been to him. So here I am repositioning. I especially like where my swarm hosts are, because it's equidistant to his 3rd and his natural. So if he's defending one, I can just rally the locusts the other direction, and you know, hopefully get in a little hole in his defense. I believe I'm getting a hive now, and I just started my spire, so it looks like I'm planning on going up to a more ultimate composition, maybe something involving brood lords. Yes, that sounds very nice indeed. And as of right now, I'm kind of staying offensive with the positioning of my forces, but not really moving in for the kill. And here I go, actually, right as I mention it. He is rebuilding his nexus, but that's not going to get anywhere. And, oh, it looks like his force was outside of his base. It looks like he was probably trying something risky, and it didn't work out for him. And I would expect a GG any moment. He's on 1 base and looking bad, and there it is. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next episode.